When air checking the 4R100, it's always best to do it as you go. The Ford books, all the books, they're very vague about it. They just show you where to air check. They don't tell you when. If you wait till the very end, till you're fully assembled, right before you put the control bodies on, if you have a problem back here in the low reverse section, you got to rip the whole thing down. The pump, everything's got to come out to get back to that piston. So it's much easier to air check as you go. So what I would do is, when I build, the first thing that goes in is the low reverse piston. And I'm going to use this as an example. All the other ones are similar, the way these seals work. Now, these all have lip seals. A lip seal, chevron seal, V-packing, they're all basically the same. They're all affected by pressure. The more pressure gets applied to them, the tighter the seal gets. Now, they're like with anything, there's an upper limit. If you apply too much pressure, then you risk extruding the seal out through the clearance between the piston and the case. Now, we're not anywhere near those pressures here, but that's just something to always keep in mind. Every apply piston has a feed hole here somewhere. So let's take a look at where they're at. Now, the low reverse is all the way down here at the bottom. If I shine a flashlight in here, so you can see this hole here that's kind of glowing that my pick is in. That's the feed hole for the low reverse piston. So if we look at the shape of the case, gives it away. The shape of the case where that feed hole is corresponds to this bevel here on the piston. So we know that our pressure enters the piston here. So both of these lip seals, the mouths of the lip seals, need to face that pressure source, and they both do. So in this case, both seals, the mouths are facing down on the inside as well, and they both face the source of the pressure. So what happens with these seals? Well, I did this is a finite element model I built about 25 years ago for a different application. This is a piece of an actual V-packing, which is multiple V seals like you see here, with a male adapter on one end and a female adapter on the other end, and that's the complete packing. You see that in high pressure applications. You'll see it in hydraulic rams, cylinders. Your plow probably has one on it. Things like that, higher pressure stuff. A finite element model is just breaking up a surface of interest into multiple elements. That's what you can see here. It's called a mesh. Every point is a node, and they can be 3-sided, 4-sided, whatever number of sides works out. And then you can analyze each element for different stress behaviors. So anyway, that's what this is. So if we look at this one V-packing, it's going to behave the exact same way as the lip seal does. So as we apply pressure to it, you can see the forces are increasing inside of it. The pressure, it's going into compression as it's being pushed up against the walls, the piston wall and the cylinder wall, which in our case is the case, the transmission case. And it deforms a little as it gets tighter and tighter, and there you go. That's basically how it works. It's a mouth, but because the mouth is already between two walls, it can't open. So as you apply pressure, the seal gets tighter, and also the area of contact increases because of the deformation of the seal. So that's how that works. All the pistons have these lip seals on them, even the molded ones. The molded ones, they're slightly different, but they all have some sort of a lip seal on them that does this. The only instance that doesn't is the forward piston. On the inside, it's just a round O-ring, but it has a large lip seal on the outer diameter. So moving forward, once we get our low reverse section built, the clutch pack in, and the snap ring in, you can't air test without a snap ring. You just apply air here, and in the case of the low reverse, you can actually watch it compress and relax. So moving forward, the next step is you put your gear train in, intermediate, clutch pack, and then the center support. Now you can air check the forward. Now you can check, there we go, the forward pack and the direct pack. This hole here, this is the lube, the intermediate lube, which is always good to air check, only because you want to make sure that air isn't coming out of anywhere else when you do that. If you have that, then you have a broken seal ring inside there. Then your next test port here is going to be the intermediate and the overdrive. Once you have the overdrive intermediate piston assembly inside there, now those lip seals don't interact with the case. They interact with each other, just like the pistons in the drum. They seal inside the drums. The lower verse is the only one that actually seals against the case. But they're all sealing against their cylinder, which is what the piston slides inside and out. So for the lower verse, the cylinder just happens to be the case. So now you get to your last, well, not your last, almost your last two test ports, your intermediate and your overdrive. Once you get the intermediate and overdrive assembly installed, spring compressed, put that retaining snap ring in, now you can do the intermediate, which is this hole here. This hole right here, that should be glowing with my pick in it. That's the intermediate apply feed. And you can do it the same way you did all the other ones. Now, overdrive, you're going to want to put in your overdrive clutch pack first before you do that. Put your overdrive clutch pack in, pressure plate, and retaining snap ring, and then you can apply air here to the feed bolt to check the overdrive. Now to do the coast pack, this one, there's three theoretical ways to do it. One is, if you're looking at the case here, you see where my light is lighting up this odd shaped pocket here. That's the source of oil for the coast drum, for the coast pack, that is. So there's a hole, you can't see it, but it's on the top side facing up. It's not straight back. So if you could put the pump in, install the pump, torque it down, and then find some way to get your air gun to this hole. But I wouldn't even bother with that. Before you put the pump in, with your pump on the bench, seal rings on the stator tube. You can use old ones. These are old ones here. I usually use old ones when I'm testing. You set it up. Your pump's all rebuilt. Everything's torqued down. Everything's fine with that. Although that doesn't really matter in this case. Your coast drum, this one's not assembled, but imagine piston, return spring, snap ring, and clutch pack, pressure plate, and clutch pack snap ring in there. Just put it right on top. Now, all you have to do here is, with your air gun, blow some air into this hole here, and that'll apply the clutch pack. And you can check for your deflection, your return to rest, anything else you want to see, using this hole right here. This hole corresponds to this hole. Now another way to do it is, if you've got a lot of parts and you got an extra stator tube around, you can just use a stator tube. This one doesn't have seals on it, but put seals on it. Put it right in the drum. Your drum, again, is fully assembled. Now if you spin the stator tube around, you see two holes, and then you see a third hole by itself. The hole by itself, that's the coast clutch apply hole. So holding this together with one hand, so you can see the bottom, you can put your air gun right here on this hole, and then you'd be able to see your piston action, doing it that way. But like I said, I mean, really the easiest way to do it is with the pump itself. It's not causing you any extra work. You don't need any extra parts. You're going to have seals handy anyway, and it's just a much easier way to do it. So that's air checking. It's pretty simple, but like I said, the books are vague about when to do it. I say just do it as you go. And remember, you can't air check a pack unless it's fully assembled with the clutch pack, the pressure plate, and the snap ring. Now, if you were to air test, say, the low reverse without the clutch pack in it, your return spring will keep the piston from blasting out, but your displacement may exceed, and probably will exceed, the sealing bore for the sealing ring. So you could be putting a lot of abuse on this ring, pushing it out of the bore and pushing it back in the bore. So that's not a good idea. So only ever do it with the full clutch pack installed, pressure plate and the snap ring and everything in there before you go air checking.